Some say it's all about 1925 and beyond. The podcast. KC 100 year celebration with Pete A. Kennedy and Marlon A. Kennedy.
Welcome, it's the 1925 and Beyond podcast. We are here again with a special guest right out of the great institution, Kingston College. My name is Pete A. Kennedy, your co-host. I am here with my co-host, Marlon A. Kennedy, big brother. But you know, we got to drop the credits every time we come to the sessions. I went to Kingston College between the years of 1992 to 1995. Played Coles 93-94, played Manning Cup 95, won Coles 94, but it's not about us. It's about our guest today, and I can't wait to get there. But let me pass it on to Big Brother Marlon.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of 1925 and Beyond. I'm the co-host Marlon Kennedy. To hear Pete say it's not about him and reel off all of that, you know, I'm going to leave my accolades alone because I don't want to embarrass him. But our guest today, another important guest of ours, we have the KC Old Boys Association New York chapter president, Mr. Dwayne Montaque with us. It's a pleasure to have you, Dwayne. It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. And
welcome.
Thank you, Pete and Marlon. And a pleasant day, nice sunny day in New York City.
Yes.
Greetings to you and your listening audience. Fortis forever.
Yes.
Blessing, Fortis forever. Boy, it's good to hear when people in New York, you know, them sweater indoors and can appreciate the sunshine that I so abuse so often out here in Jamaica. So I understand, Dwayne. I understand.
Yes.
So in true form, Dwayne, we're gonna ask you to just, you know, let us learn about Dwayne Montaque, and we ask our esteemed guests to just give us a little history, a little story, and tell us about your time before KC, and we transition from there.
All right. Yes, man. Dwayne Montaque, in terms of origin, Dwayne Montaque is a youth like any inner city youth from Jamaica, from Kingston 13, Chisholm Avenue to be exact. That's, you know, where I originated from, where my family originated from. And from there, before KC, I went to a small basic school off Chisholm Avenue called Greenville Basic School.
Okay.
Right? And spent my early days there. And from there, I transitioned into another great institution, Russell Primary School.
Okay. Right.
Which many of you would have known, like, you know, Russell have done well for itself
over
the period of time. So I spent 5 years at Russell, took common entrance there. And let me give you a little backstory about my time at Russell and what made so interesting. During Russell, I did tracks. And at the time, Russell was one of the top school in terms of primary champs. If you think about the England brothers and all of them came to Russell Primary, many others, the Warren Johnson, not many of them came to Russell Primary. So I used to be on the track team over there, and Russell used to be competitive in many things, but Russell used to get a lot of passes. You know, it was a very large primary school, and well, we had some really solid teachers there that really poured a lot into us, and all of us transitioned. So,
but Dwayne, before you move on, Dwayne, because we don't like past certain things, you know. I know you mentioned some big name where the tracks are also, but you win nothing big, man. Which event you participate in, Dwayne?
I used to run the sprints, and we placed. I remember if during my time at Russell, we did one primary champs a couple of times. I think we won twice when I was there, and we always placed. You know, I always placed in top 3 in my event, and also.
Wow, Dwayne, you give me a nice political answer. You know, you say me win become second at 200. Peter, hear that? The man said we place. All right, Dwayne, me now put you on the spot again. Do your thing, Dwayne.
No, man, we did our thing. I turned here. I have to search my memory box to see it. You know, you remember. Like Victoria Mutual relays, there used to be with Gibson to primary champs, all of that, Russell. We always did well, but I just can't remember the perfect details.
Nice.
Why? Well, as long as you can remember your wife's birthday and your wedding anniversary, then the medals and them thing that we placed
Yeah.
was
Yes.
insignificant.
Yes.
So, a little more. I know one of the things you asked about background in terms of siblings. So I'm the eldest of three.
Yeah.
Okay.
One brother who is 5 years follow me, and I have a younger sister who is much older. So for the most of my life, from I was about three, I would say my stepfather was like my father figure, raised me from I was 2.5, and my mom, of course. So that was our family ecosystem, right? And this is the late 80s, early 90s period, right? Both of you, based on the time that you said, you entered KC, would have overlapped probably more me and Pete than you, since you're before him. But
yeah. But hold on before you go further, Marlon, tell the year, because now he's about to talk overlap. What year you went to KC? Because it's not about us, but just give him for the knowledge. What year you went to KC?
I was from 86 to 93.
Thank you, sir. All right, continue, Mr. Montague.
all right, sound good. So that's the pre-KC days. I'll speak about now how I transitioned to KC. I mentioned 5 years at Russell, an entrance in grade 5, pass. But the funny thing is, when you back then, when you're taking common entrance, they ask you to select two.
Yes. Yes.
So the interesting thing I get about that, KC wasn't on my 2 school list.
Ah, Jesus.
And I remember telling my teacher, this is KC 100, so I'm not gonna speak about which other school, but any event, I had like.
No, we want to hear, man, because you're not the only one. Yes, man. There's another guy. So yes, which
All right,
school
so
did
I mentioned at Russell now, common entrance time, pick for 2 school, right? And our Russell did their class in each grade. We had about 5 or 6 grade classes, and they did it 5-1, 5-2, 5-3. Based on what them said at the time, brightest class. So from I was in grade 3, I was in 3-2, and I was supposed to go in 4-1. Them tell me the class full. Imagine that as a youth, you work on the class.
Yeah.
So all right, Then now, second time now, finish up grades to grade 4, going to grade 5 again. Before going
Class full.
This time I actually have a seat in the class, may I tell you. And them come back and say, the class too full by 1 student. Do some evaluation and say, since everybody else I come with the same group for take out 1 person and include me, them not think that was the right decision. I remember the day them take me out of the class. I'm at 5'2", I'm a ball, Remember that day the ball, because at the time my mother did live in England, and I try to a life away. I mean, me there I live around some people, and my focus was, me need for pursue my mother, me need for do my part, and not make nobody, extend herself, and not make nobody tell her say me nah do what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, common entrance time come around, and I call my mom used to call like probably like every Sunday or something, and back then in our phone, you had to go up on the front.
Out phone box.
Phone call.
Phone box. Yeah.
Big up to them people, that Leon, Chris, them people that used to take calls, say almost everybody in the community. So I used to go up there on Sunday. I remember I tell my mother, say, me look on schools, and my mother always, if I throw me the oldest, my mother always just asks me probing question and figure out the decision. She said, when me talk a couple months ago, I told her to look at some schools and come to them and decide. My mother was an Arden alum. So I thought that she would have wanted me to pick Arden as one of the school. And she said, you don't have to put Arden, if you don't want to. But I want you to come with a list of schools. So I come with a list of schools. And she said, if you want to put Arden in there, you can do it, but it's your decision. Anyway, I put Arden in a 1. And my second validation as to the next school I'm going to pick was I didn't like wearing khaki color uniform.
So GSC.
So I picked JC just based on the fact that it's a good school, but them in a different
And
color.
color. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So my 9-10-year-old Mark, you see me? So that was my
Yeah.
So those were the two schools that I gave to my teacher. So now common entrance happen. Take common entrance and the results day. So the results day, when my mother used to, like I said, my mother used to always, and that probably influenced my career now. My mother used to always let me know what's going on as the oldest. So she over England. My mother send money like every week or every 2 weeks, whatever period it is. But my mother always send the money in my name so that I know how much money she send for whoever caretaker is under me and my brothers. So I know how much money is there so that I
Then
can
shot you.
yeah. I kind of know what's going on and I cannot be taken advantage of. That's how she always treat me. So it so happened that the day of common entrance result was within the cadence that I have to go up to Remington's Express. Remember that they used to dip on Knoxford Boulevard back in the days? As a minor, an adult used to always have to go with me.
Yeah.
I always have to tell my teacher, say, you know, my mother send money and I forgot tomorrow. And it was always a hard time with my teacher, Miss Morgan. I'm going to get to her in a minute. That was my teacher in 5th grade that passed common entrance out our class, 5-2. So the day now, when I normally talk to her the day before this event happened. And I spoke to her the day before. And this was the first time I went to her. Remember, the whole year now, Pete and Marlon, me I go to her, I always have to give this long explanation to me. And I know, say, this is the routine. And that was the first time, it's like, my ask her and she just say, okay. You didn't even catch my off guard because I have my explanation. So, and I play it back years after. I say, she must have the results the day before. I know she passed. And she said, she know, you know, it's like, just, so anyway. Results come out now the next morning, and I remember I'd already tell her I'm gonna late for school. And back then, you know, when results are come out, paper, everybody buy them paper.
Early in the morning.
Yeah, early in the morning. So my neighbor now, when me and him grew up from, we are 3-year-old, Ricardo Campbell. Him is also in Boston. Big up yourself, Dalsim. He used to play ball, the KC to Morning Cup. Anyway, I'm in Boston, but that's my brother. So anyhow, him used to always go to school very early in the morning, you know. So him go to school and find out results. And when me now come out and I get ready for go up to Remington, so him must see with the speed I run come down the lane. Say, pass. And so my question to him was, me pass though?
Yeah.
And him, you know, him said, I don't know, them just tell me my name and I just run out of the school. So now the thing is, me and him they pick for the same school them.
Yeah.
Pass the KC, but me never really I register that. So now them I go through the names them. I not see my name in a Arden, I not see my name in a and this is a whole heap of people in front of the lane.
Yeah.
Them thing and them I look through so much school and them I look through some other school now. Them I look through Georges, them I look through elsewhere. Tell me I get pissed now. I'm gonna say, I not even want to go them school. So I don't know why.
Fox can't get the grip.
So when we did it now, I talk, they look through so much schools and I see them name. Till I start, I said to myself, there's no way I'm gonna pass. You know them come here. I remember like I remember the day when me in the exam room, I take the exam and I remember everything. And back then
everything. I said, but you don't know where you get wrong.
I said, no man, something not right. And after they look at about 10-15 schools and I see my name, there was a gentleman, you know, RIP to him, who used to sell newspaper on the front named Mr. Leroy. And him said, then if him bridging past the KC, why we not just looking at KC? And it's like everybody just have a pause and look around.
One little sense man on the corner.
So now when them looking at KC, you know, all my ears is just this big excitement. And may I tell you, is like the emotion up and down. At the first time in my life, I know myself where emotion brought me to tears, like joy, not sad emotion.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
this up and down for me see my brethren him pass, I'm happy for him. Then I ask him if him pass, him say him no know.
Him no know, yeah. So you gone down. Yeah.
I'm pick for them looking at nothing, a bunch of other school, all of this come like that for hours, but I'm sure minutes.
Minutes.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And then the joy and in myself that about 10 years old that now, I have it for say, me a big man, you know, okay? You know, in time you grow up as a little with a Jamaica, you know, people, you know, everybody think them bigger than where I is. So me a big youth. At the first time I see people lift me up in the year, me never know.
Like you're a baby.
Like, you know, like me a baby. Just all of that emotion they say.
Yeah.
Mother and my family in a day here, but me gonna make her proud and, you know, my past and all of that. So from that moment there, I know that my journey to Kingston College was a path that was chosen for me.
Yes.
And why it's so important is that I actually had two uncles that went to KC before me.
Okay.
It still wasn't part of my selection because my mind wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, and from that is like my life was totally different. And what was great, I don't know if it was great or sad, but that year, 5 of us passed to Kingston College. But I was the only student out of my class that passed common entrance that year.
Out of 5-2?
5-2, yeah.
5-1, that class
had 4.
Like about 60 people, maybe about 50 or 55 pass. And you have the grade 6s, them of course, them will pass. But in 5-2, and I don't even know some of my closest friends, them were, you know, from 5-2 that year. Me and them still have good relationships. Some of them tell me, say, boy, you know, my nickname is Popsy. So I don't know if I tell them, say, boy, Popsy, when you pass and gone leave me, you know, it hurt my heart, you know, because we had that bond. But and that's what I mean. Like, I could have recall like just the pride what Miss Morgan had. I was the only student in 1993 that passed out of 5-2 from Russell Primary. And didn't just no regular pass. A KC, me I go so.
Yeah, I mean, great institution.
So all of that I remember now. I don't remember which day of the week that was, but I remember I couldn't wait to tell my mother the Sunday, because I remember I said my mother called.
Yeah, forgot me the call, yeah.
So I'm gone up and me day up there probably, if she ever call 5 o'clock, I'm probably day up there from 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know? And my mom called and I remember saying to my mom, say, so mom, you know my pass? And I remember my mother respond was, I know you did that pass. You know what I made it so?
Yeah.
That, may I tell you, that day there was like my journey forward, and everything from that. I remember like going through the summer, going through your medical. My same Andrea that I mentioned, his mom, she passed on maybe about 2 years ago, but she, you know, did all the running up and down because my mother wasn't there, getting all my registration with her son, you know, 2 of us take care of everything for us. And we went to KC that September morning, you know, Chris tie, well buttoned up, you know.
Yeah.
Which year you started?
93 I started.
Yeah,
93. Okay.
Yeah, 93. So that was that. And but then you know, you all, I don't know if them would, I'm sure them they are do it in a peak time, Alan, but your first day of school, after you go through like, you know, some summer orientation thing, I think them did bring us in a summer for like a day or so. September morning is the day when them line up everybody in a pavilion and group you up in a class, and you set devotion and you're in your first batch of class. Then time there, you have on all crisp, you know, where you knew, crisp, well pressed on by your uniform. So so that was my journey into Kingston College.
So talk to me about now. What happened while you're at KC? What was that? What was life like? Did you participate in any activities and them sort of thing there?
Well, when I started KC, I initially, as I said, I was in tracks from Russia, so my plan was to be in tracks. But my mother was the one who pulled me back out of that, because I went to a couple of the training, and that time, you know, the training used to go very late.
Yeah.
She used to say, you know, you have to be downtown so late. So that was how I got stopped, and, you know, from tracks, which sometimes I think back about it, I wish it was different because that was my true passion.
Yeah, love,
Like,
yeah.
Participate in a lot of things, interfarm, but never like get to represent the
The
school
school. Okay.
in a sporting discipline or other
Mhm.
disciplines while I was there.
So, all right. So you did how many years at KC?
Okay, yeah, let me touch on that. So I was at KC for 3.5 years because my
Okay.
family now, as I mentioned, when I was in primary school, my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother was overseas and
Mm-hmm.
far away from,
Yeah,
them was, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I even forgot that that had happened. So when now I finished third farm, and I think I was like in fourth farm for maybe about a month or so. Then our filing come through. At this point, I'm like, it's almost like I didn't want.
Did they go?
To
Yeah,
leave.
yeah, yeah,
I never forget that when I told Mr. Brian
yeah,
B, shout Mr. B,
Mm.
yeah.
that I'm gonna leave. He said, your mom have to come down here and talk to me. That's so vested,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I'm sure that wasn't unique to me. I remember my mom come down there and my mom spent about a hour convincing him because him say, America have a way to destroy youths, and he was
Mm.
really preaching the right thing. And I remember my mom had an agreement with him that if we go up there and things not right, I was gonna come back within a year. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He said he's gonna hold on to my spot for 1 year
Mm-hmm.
in case my mom want me to come back to KC. But
Nice.
that didn't happen. So that was really my journey. My family migrated, and also to, the era that I was living in was kind of transitioning, to a different era. Growing up on
Okay.
Chisholm Avenue was
Yep, yep.
fun.
Yeah.
I was growing up like only people get themselves involved in a certain things,
Mm-hmm.
you know, harm come to them, but it started transitioning, right? And I think that was one of the reasons why my mom thought that it was better that I stayed here with her than
Yep.
go back down
Going
to
back. Yep. Yep.
go.
But not only that, when you moved and you picked up schooling then, it's not like you struggle in a particular way, which is why Mr. Brand was saying if it doesn't work to come back.
Yeah,
So even with all of that, it was a progression where okay, it worked. So we staying.
yeah,
So glad
exactly,
to hear that.
exactly. So after that I went to an high school here in the US for about 2 years. But it's so funny, like my KC experience was so profound. Back
Mm-hmm.
then, you remember you didn't have social media,
Mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
those things. So I used to couldn't wait for like Wednesday or Thursday when I would get the Glean or the Star over here to go through it and looking at the sports section.
Yeah,
Something
that's
that
it.
I
Yeah.
kept something about Kingston College,
Yeah.
especially like, my class here would have been the 98 group,
Mm-hmm,
right? Which
mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
still very close with a lot of those folks in that group. And during that time period, 99, 2000, KC was doing really good in Manning Cup. I think won Walker Cup in 2000, and I think we lost in the Manning Cup final that year. So all of them guys that would have depended that would have
Yeah.
been ones who started with me, and some of them are probably people like where Pete would know,
Mm-hmm.
Argo,
Yep,
Adrian
yep, yep.
knows, right? Another good Brian McCarthy, Rafa,
Yep, yep,
enough
yep.
of them, me and them
Yes,
start KC.
good.
So because of that, as I said, my entry into KC, I felt like KC chose me. So
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I migrated to the US,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get rid of that love that I have. And one of the things that I always appreciate the old boy, my mom didn't have it easy, right? And I remember even with school fee, our KC school fee was a lot more reasonable to that
Mm-hmm.
versus comparative high school, meaning that I had cousins who was going to Calabar and other schools and what they were paying. And I always have an understanding that is based on what the old boys did for the school to fill certain gap. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we benefit from that. I don't know how true that was, but I always, appreciated that. So in all that time, when I came over here, spent 2 years high school, then I graduated from that and transition into college where I studied accounting. at Lehman College in the Bronx, and transitioned from there, and I work a couple of years in a public accounting until I kind of settled in the current industry that I'm working in, which is philanthropy on the financial reporting side. And I've always had it in my intention. I don't know if it's why that at some point in my life, my contribution back to Kingston College was only a matter of when, but not if.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah.
So how did you get how did you make that connection now with the OBA chapter in New York?
Okay, so I mean, for a couple of years, I would say that I was a little bit disconnected from the KC community. One, because I was spending time investing in myself, right? To position myself to be in a position to help. But I used to always see things like, KC old boys are keep this event, and the KC old boys are doing something, or run into, a Fortis where, when we used to go school with, whether it's, on the ball field in the summertime, and also to the Bronx Soccer League, where a lot of the Fortis man that I went to school with, like Iggy and them, and they used to come up in the summertime. So I used to see them, a lot of them. So I used to always have touch point with people involved with KC and had conversation with them. And I remember one day I was home. I think I was by myself, and I say, say, I don't want this touch and go kind of relationship with KC anymore. I want it to be part of my life.
Yeah.
And I remember I had run into a gentleman named Everton Owell, still one of my good friends.
Yeah, I know Everton, yeah.
So Everton was key, because Everton was probably recruiting me and another my friend's name, Courtney, who do the merchandise.
Yes.
No, Pete, don't know him. So Everton, Courtney, they went to school together.
Okay.
Everton been saying, y'all need to come into the fold and help, like for about 2-3 years. He was saying that. And one day, like I said, when I had this epiphany myself, it was maybe about a week or two before the KC gala, where them normally keep. I'm going to say, me will go to the gala this year. And me and Courtney will go to the gala. And when we got the gala, it was a good time. But when I look, I see that, most of the people there are people more senior to me.
Yep.
And I said, you know what? Everything in life is about transition, right? And I said to myself, I have to be part of this change and join and bring in some man from around my year, and so we can have the continuity, right, and pass it on. So that was really my call. I went and saw that what was happening was good, but was motivated to ensure that it continues, because I personally benefit from that. And if the life cycle, people can be willing, but naturally they're getting older, and we need a next set of persons to step up and step forward. And from that one meeting, I've been engaged. I started first because of my background in finance.
And what year was that? What year you started with them?
I think it was 2016 or 2015, somewhere about there. I think I want to say, if I was to guess, I think it's 2016. Right, so I went to 2015, one out of the two. But went to the gala. After that, Everton said, y'all need to come in. So I joined and started, helping out, with, selling some tickets to the event and helping out with the finances. I started as the assistant treasurer. And Alton Brown, who was a treasurer, many of y'all know him.
Yeah.
Heard about him, yeah.
Fully passed on recently.
Yeah.
He was the treasurer at the time. And him and I started working together a lot of late nights, doing what we need to do. Tireless worker for the mission. So Alton, I was brought in to help him, because Alton was doing a lot and needed some support.
Yeah.
And I basically understudying for 1 year, and then I took on the role as treasurer.
Got it.
I run that for 5 years, and for the last 4 years, I've been functioning in the capacity as president of the organization, and have a strong team that's helping us making the mission work. But it's a lot of your time. It's a lot, but this kind of work, people are more upset with you than they're happy with you most of the time. And if you know what that you sign up for that. And for me, what keeps me going is each time when I go back to school and I look into those young boys' eyes and see that they have nobody to advocate for them, then it reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's so if I can, take drop, my ego, somebody being, and not let that get in front of the mission, because at the end of the day, somebody who have nobody to advocate for them need us to advocate for them.
Right.
That keep focus on why may I do what I'm doing. And as long as I have a group of people who is willing to take on that battle, with me, then I think we can do a lot in terms of helping Kingston College be in the best version of itself.
So quickly tell me now, Dwayne. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to encourage you to say that when we sat with former President Rainford Perry, Bloomfield, he highly spoke about your leadership skills and qualities, which you just confirmed as well. So I just want to encourage you to say that he highly support what you're doing and love what you're doing, and definitely big you up. So Perry, big up yourself to where you're at.
Man, big up
also big up your KC friends, and this is KC thing. We know it's not here, but big up all your 98 guys as well. Marlon.
Yeah, Dwayne. So if you can just briefly and quickly tell us what under your term as president so far, what you have done, and what are the plans for this year and any other future plans?
Okay, so a couple of things. The New York chapter theory of change is primarily focused on 3 areas, right? It is around academic development of the school, vis-a-vis primarily to our investments in our scholarship program, which this chapter, just to give a sense, the chapter have been around over 40 years.
Yes.
Right? Consistent operation. The chapter had existed previously before that, from I believe somewhere in the 50s to the 60s, and then it went through a period.
There was a break.
For 20 years. But from 1982, which happened to be the year I was born. So if you want to know how the chapter old is, just look at me. Right? So, and it's something that I take very seriously in terms of, one, we inherit something, and when you inherit something, you treat it with care because you need to pass it on. Our theory of change is around academic development, infrastructure investment, and what we call extracurricular activities. So it simply means that there's no areas of school life that we don't think can have an impact and improve the developments of the immediate recipients, which are the students. Our scholarship program is our longest running program. We started doing scholarships in 1984. The Wilson Saunders Scholarship is the first one, and the reason why I like that's the founders of that scholarship are still funding this through this organization this very day. We have members of this board who were recipient of the scholarship while they were at Kingston College. So it's important that we highlight that we are on a food chain, right, in terms of delivering impact at Kingston College. And we need to look at it like that. We need to instill that into the current students, that you're part of a legacy and you have a role to play. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be poor. You don't have to be a certain things. You just have to have a willingness to help. All it takes is time, talent, and treasure. Some people have all three. Some people have two. Some people have one, right? And that's what I try to instill in people, right? That's all you need. You just have to have more than a surface level interest in the outcome of someone else to be able to contribute back to Kingston College.
Wow.
That's good. That's good. Okay. So we understand that now. Can I know a lot of the chapters and even locally the association, have events. What you have planned for this year?
Yeah.
And if you have any dates locked in already, you can run those dates.
Yeah, we have a couple of events. Just quickly, I mentioned the 3 portfolio work. The reason why I didn't speak more specifically to those because they're well known, right?
Yes, true.
Well, I'm sure Dwayne, you have some people who know them. Well, no,
Right,
I
so
don't know them doing. So we want to hear. And let me tell you.
150.
Hold on, Dwayne. Let me tell you where my bias is because I travel to Florida.
Yes.
All right. So that is why I know the Fortis session them in Fort Lauderdale side of the world.
Yeah.
So treat everybody else like you talk to me.
Right.
I don't have a clue what New York I do.
All right, got
Tell
it.
me what go on with New York.
So in terms of our scholarship portfolio, we have about a little over 150 current students at Kingston College who receive scholarship. Each of those scholarships is at least an award amount of equivalent to $500 US. Right? For if you do the maths by that, you'd see that that's a pretty hefty sum annually, one time. And we have about another, I would call it about close to 10. It may be 9 this year, some year it's 10, who are in universities locally in Jamaica as well as here in the United States. So KC alums who are, future leaders, and we invest with them. Some of them are, people who start on our scholarship program from when they were in Kingston College, matriculate to tertiary institutions, and we are supporting there. The Douglas Forest building that that you see what it is now, and anyone who went to KC know what it was before.
Yeah.
Single level. Now we've went 2 levels up, and I have to applaud Perry's Broomfield leadership, right? Because that project was initiated under his leadership. Substantial.
Perry said that from start to where it is now, or even just to get out of the ground, was about 10 years worth of planning and pushing and pulling and thing to get it.
So the overlap of that, as you can imagine, we would still be making investment into that. You have a science lab build out project that we were instrumental on the last bus that Kingston College received, like we were instrumental in that. And also, little things like even the robotics team. We are the group that helped Casey start robotics. You'd have seen a recent thing circulating around how the robotics team is doing at the school. And annually, we participate and always send, our financial support to Teachers Appreciation.
Yeah.
And also not just teachers, but the ancillary staff at school. Like, it's critical. All of that contribute to the ecosystem of Kingston College. And that's why I said no areas of school life is not important to us. It's just how much we can do and over what time we can do it, and we're going to do the most we can. In terms of our events on the horizon, annually, the first Saturday in May, we have a gala. This year it's happening on Saturday, May the 3rd. And it's a centenary edition of our gala, right? Under the theme of the event, Legacy, Launching and Lifting Together. And the together is important, right? We have to set up Kingston College for the next 100 years. And we will be honoring a slate of people who have made significant contribution in terms of the development of Kingston College. One being Perry Bloomfield is one of our honorees this year.
Yes.
It's the first time he's
I think I saw that flyer, and you're also honoring posthumously
Alton Brown.
Alton Brown. Yes.
RIP will be honored. Also, Principal Myrie.
Yes.
Ian Wilkinson.
Yes.
And also, as part of our honoring, we are a US-based charity operating in New York. So we always do a community service award to someone who would, sometimes it is a KC person, but that's not the primary.
That's not the prime, yeah.
Criteria is what they're doing in terms of the communities that we live in and operate in. And this year we have a retired judge, right? Sandy Walker, who served, I think, over 30, 40 years, I believe, as a judge in Mount Vernon, New York. And he will be on the slate this year, will be honored. We also annually, yeah, man, give them a clap.
Yes.
Annually, we also host the pen relay team that travel to pen relays, right? In terms of providing accommodation. And we also always do after pen barbecue for them at a KCOBA house here, in Long Island. Big up to him, although he like to do things on the radar, but big up to Mr. Forbes. Yeah, so that's some of the things that we do. We always, do a scholarship event, because I mentioned scholarship is super important to us, and we do so many activities in terms of, we have a fish fry, and we're just always looking for other ways to partner with folks who are trying to do stuff to improve the outcomes for students at Kingston College.
All right. So I really appreciate that, Dwayne, and it's a pleasure to hear, because the more we do these interviews, the more we start to connect the dots with all the things that are happening.
Yeah.
So whenever I know that KC gone a pen every year, I can safely say in my mind, New York chapter have them
luck.
And these boys are going to be well fed afterwards at Mr. Forbes'
New York
place.
and Florida, because every year we and Florida partner.
Good. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that part, because next, the Florida man them send out a drone somewhere over your house.
Might call me after this and say,
yes. I don't want them hardly with an
every year
and them and they drape you up.
Coordinate.
Good.
Big up Florida
that's really
chapter.
good to hear. That's really good to hear, Dwayne. So in true fashion, Dwayne, for the podcast for this year, we want you to close off away with firstly wishing Casey happy 100, then leaving a positive message, and then lastly just drop the contact details / social media handle for the chapter in New York. Your time.
Yeah, man, indeed. Listen, 100 years in the life of anything is a phenomenal achievement. Needless to say, Kingston College, right? So happy birthday to my beloved, mine and yours, right? Because we're all KC old boys on this forum.
Me naturally, we don't know people gonna adapt it. We work with it.
I'm just really proud of what Kingston College has done, in its time. And we're not going to rest on our laurels, because we know the needs are great. We're operating in a global landscape. So this centenary, right, it provides an opportunity for us to celebrate the achievements. But most important, we have to develop a true culture of giving back to ensure that this organization, this institution, that it is maintain its place, and not just maintain, but soar for the next 100 years. So this is really my appeal to everybody who are around at this time. You're really fortunate. There's many of our friends who thought they would be here, and we have an opportunity for us to seize it, right? 100 years of Kingston College. I'm a fairly young man, but I can't guarantee that I'll be around to see Kingston College at 25.
Yeah.
I'm imploring all the alums, all friends, all stakeholders who have a genuine interest in nation development, because the Kingston College story, if you follow it closely, it's the Jamaican story.
Yes.
It's a story against all odds. When Bishop Gibson founded Kingston College, he had an idea, he had a mentor, and his mentor, if you follow the story, his mentor didn't really believe that what he was putting forward was possible, but he supported him because he had a vision.
Yeah.
And that vision today continue to benefit. And if we really appreciate that story, just that will, right? The brave may fall, but never yield. I can tell you how many times in my life that was the only thing I had to hold on to help forward. And I think I had nothing else inside of me, right? I remember even when I was sitting my CPA exam, and I look at the clock and see the clock running down, and look how much more sections I have to go through, and I start say the brave may fall, but never.
Come on.
You understand? And that give me another fuel in my battery to move on. So I want to just really let everybody know that we, as well as all the chapters, we're so connected. You know, the presidents of all the chapters have a bi-weekly touch point.
Yes, we heard of it. Yes.
We're working together. We're
Yes.
solving the needs collectively, and we're not doing it one-off. We've been doing that about the last year and a half. We're not perfect yet, but this is the mandate that I think where we're all connected, we're all understanding the full needs assessment and be able to, you know, make interventions in the right areas. So what I'm saying, all of those chapters have launched centenary appeal fundraising efforts, I should say. New York chapter being key. And if you follow us on our website, kcobausa.org/centenary, you can join the movement and support it.
That's right.
It's critical that we do that. You know, there's a number of projects has been identified in terms of all the infrastructure development projects, actively working with Principal Myrie on the overall academic improvement plan, because that is what KC is. We are a school, an educational institution. We are an educational institution that does well in many activities. And if we think about the school like that, we have to build from that base, right? If KC didn't have that base to known as, you know, preparing great men for the future, we wouldn't have a Kingston College. So I just want to implore everybody that no gift is too small. That's the tagline. You know, make this your best gift ever. And if we bond together, I believe all the initiatives that we've set forth as part of the centenary is achievable, but we need to do it together, right? And that is, that's where I'll leave that. Okay.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dwayne. Pete.
Wow. Let me just drop this real quick, because as you were speaking, I had to look it up so everybody can see, right? Support the KC Old Boy USA Association right there out of New York. Please follow the link, drop the website. This is it, ladies and gentlemen, where you can support, and there you have the initiatives. I would say continuation of the Douglas Forest building, construct a new water well for Melbourne campus, continue much need upgraded for the science and industrial arts facilities, acquire complete purchase land for planned campus expansion. And I'm not sure if it's public record. I'll probably check with Audley, but KC has actually invested in an opportunity where we can now actually take care of boys who don't have, well, from what I understand, a place to stay and all of these things. So I understand that was orchestrated between somewhat New York and Florida again. So we're doing the moves, we're making the things happen. So if you haven't chimed in, please make sure you do connect with your alumni, right?
But join the legacy. Join the legacy.
You have to join the legacy. But guys, you've heard it from the president of New York, KC Old Boy Association, the man who did not choose KC, but KC chose him. And after you've heard out of his very own words, against all odds is KC's story, which is Jamaica's story. And I say that all the time for real, Dwayne, that, man, it's KC against Jamaica. But when you leave Jamaica, it's Jamaica against the entire world. When I say against, let me be careful. We're not saying you guys are against us. Is that many people know of us, and there's some form of level of relationship, respect, and expectation from a Jamaican, and that is what is expected of a KC student or old boy within the world. But let me leave with this, and I want to make sure that, because we end all the sessions with this, Dwayne, but you ended your story with it. Said, taking an exam, the one thing you held on to was the KC motto, which me and my brother think is the greatest motto out of all institutions. And I went to micro practice in Alliage, and the motto was, only your best is good enough. I like that one because I believe in talents. But the KC one, the brave may fall but never yield. Oh my gosh, nothing is greater than that. So we wrap up all our sessions with the motto, Dwayne. And we ask that you join us. Sometimes the faculties and staff, we excuse them, but no KC Old Boys is excused from the motto at the end. So you know how it goes. I'm going to kick it off and you just jump in wherever you go. It goes like this. Fortis.
Cadere. CEDRE.
Non-Potest.
The brave may fall, but never yield.
Right?
Why Boy, doing it, sorry, put you on the spot. You're there in your office, you can't even shout out.
So, yeah, we do this.
You see him all up. You see doing all the whole back, lick
Fortis.
tears. You see doing voice, I crack up like last part, power man.
Yeah.
I say in my mind, hold it in, doing, hold it.
Yeah. I show the environment. If it was a day when I work from home, I'll get all
That's all right. That's all right. But we found this. Well, not found. Another Fortis. Stewie shared this with us, and it's just a thing I like to share, but it's not really till we end. And he says this: Fortis then, Fortis now, and Fortis forever. So thank you again for your time, my brother. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful time there. Stay warm and be safe. And we'll see you again as we connect to this universe of Fortis. So cheers, and we'll see you on the next podcast, 1925 and beyond.
Take care. Fortis forever. Bye.